Okay. Hello, Angela here. Good morning. I just would like to introduce you to a friend of mine, Marin. We met at a women's show that I went to, and she had such clever ideas to do with sweaters and recycling items, so I just really wanted to share her talents with you. So here's Marin.
Hi, alright, so the first thing I want to show you is how to use a sweater. Now, because it's winter and as moms know, you are always running out of hats and mitts, I'm going to show you how to take an old sweater and make it into a pair of mitts and a new hat. So first you can just take an existing hat and you're going to want to put it in the middle so you have enough room for your mitts after. Now the nice thing about using a sweater is because the bottom is already finished, that's just one less step that you have to worry about. So all you're going to do is you're going to take your hat, put it on the sweater, and you're just going to cut around it, remembering to leave a little bit for seam allowance. So all I'm going to do is just cut around it. And there you go. And then I will fold the pieces together, right sides together. And if you want, if you're not feeling very comfortable, you can pin it so that you're sure that the pieces won't slide around. And the nice thing about using old sweaters is that it gets them out of your closet. Sweaters don't like to just sit in your closet. They like to be used, they like to be worn. And so it's getting them out so that you don't have to worry about them hanging up in your closet anymore. So there's the hat. So we'll do all the sewing all at once. And then all you're going to do for your mitt is you're going to just take your hand and put it down. And you can put it up if you want a little bit of a longer mitt. So you're going to put your hand down, and again, remembering your seam allowance. And so you're just going to cut around.
And do you prefer to use the roller blade versus scissors?
I love the rotary wheel.
Okay.
Compared to scissors. It makes my life so much easier, and you don't have the jagged edge that you get with scissors.
Okay.
So there's one mitt. And I'm going to do the same hand just because all you have to do is flip it over for the other one.
So does it matter what kind of sweater that you use?
You would want one that is a little bit thicker. Now, when you go and pick sweaters, you just have to look at them, because not all sweaters are created the same. Some are really thin, some are really, really thick and bulky. And you don't want some that are really, really thick and chunky, because it'll just make a mess of your sewing machine. So you do want this one. It's not too thick, it's not too thin. It's just a good medium weight.
Okay.
So then again, flipping it over and pinning it just to be sure that you're not messing up the sides. Okay, and then I'm going to go over to my sewing machine.
Okay.
And if you do have a thicker sweater, you might want to use a slightly thicker needle, maybe a denim needle. But because this one isn't too thick, I'm not too worried about it.
Okay. So does it matter what thread you use?
Just a basic thread should be fine. Oh, you're gonna put up on me just because I said you're being good. Is that how it always works?
That is how it always works. That's okay, we get the idea anyway.
Alright, so there you are. You're just going to sew around it, and
Okay.
then eventually you will have a nice pair of mitts. And the same for the hat. You're just going to sew around it, and when you flip it over, you will have a fantastic hat. And because they're coordinated, you're going to look all nice and fancy.
Awesome.
And people will think that you coordinated your hat and your mitts. All right, and the second thing that I wanted to show you is using t-shirt material for making cute flowers. Now, because I have little girls, I have very girly girls, and they're always wanting things in their hair, and if you buy things, it can get very expensive. And even if you go and look at someone's made, they usually charge quite a bit for them. So it's really a fun idea to learn how to make your own. So the first thing you can do is you just take some t-shirt material, and you just get a flower template. You can make your own, or you can print one off of the computer, and you pin it down. Now this one you would want to use scissors, just so you can get a little bit of a better feel for it. So then all you have to do is cut around the template. And the nice thing about t-shirt material is that it doesn't unravel and it doesn't fray, so you don't get the little strings hanging off that you would if you used a cotton or a denim. And some people like the raveled look, but that's the really nice thing about knit, is you can do so much with it because it doesn't fray. So you're going to just keep cutting around it, and eventually you will get a nice little flower like this. And as I said, see, it doesn't fray.
Okay.
And so you can put two together, and you can put a cute button on it, or you can get a jewel and you can glue it onto a headband, you can glue it onto a clip, and then you have a cute little flower accessory for your child.
So you just use hot glue for that?
Yeah, just hot glue or craft glue, but hot glue is so much nicer because
Okay.
then you don't nearly have the drying time. Another thing you can do, and this is actually my favorite flower to make, is you make a whole bunch of rectangles. They can be all different shapes and sizes, well, all different sizes. It doesn't matter what size, depending on what kind of flower you want to do. And then you take a needle and thread. I always like to double my thread when I do it. It makes my mom really upset when she sees me how I've knotted it, and she insists that that's not supposed to how you use your thread, but I like to double it. It just gives me that little extra security. So you're going to take your rectangle and you're going to start at one of the corners, and you're just going to do a very basic running stitch all around it. Now you're going to want to do a bigger stitch rather than a really little one. Bigger one will give you less of a hole when you're done. So you're just going to do it all the way around 3 corners. So then all you're going to have left is one side. And then when you pull it tight, you're going to have one petal. And so then you can do it on another one on the same piece of thread. And you just keep going around, again using quite big stitch. And once you've gone around 3 corners, pull it tight, and you have another petal. And so you can do 5 petals, you can do 6 petals, whatever you want, whatever you feel comfortable with. And then once you have it together, again, sew it all together. You can add a button, you can add a jewel, and attach it to a clip or a headband, again with the hot glue. Now you've noticed I'll use a white piece of a white piece of felt. And that's just to give it a little bit more security. Sometimes when little girls are using their accessories, they are quite rough, and they throw them in the backpack, they throw them in the room, and they can come undone, and you don't want to see all your hard work go to waste. So you can just use a little piece of felt, glue it on, and that just gives you a little bit more security.
Okay.
The last flower I'd like to show you, and it's one that a lot of people are starting to do, and it's really, really simple. You're just going to take a long piece of knit. Now when you have your knit and you cut a strip of it, you'll want to pull on it, and as you pull on it, you'll see that it'll curl a little bit, and that's what you want. And again with the glue gun, you're just going to take your flower and you're going to just start rolling it and gluing it. And you're just going to keep rolling and gluing all the way around. And eventually you will end up with something that looks like this.
Oh,
and rolled flowers are everywhere right now. You see them on headbands, you see them on wreaths, you see them people making corsages out of them. They're so simple, and again, just a little bit of felt on the back to secure it. This is a headband that I wear all the time, and people always comment on it and ask where I've gotten it, and I just say this is an old t-shirt that I cut up and I made a headband. Awesome. So there you go. So there's lots of hair accessories that you can get just from some old t-shirt scraps.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Marin. And this is Angelique, and I hope that you enjoy this video, and I'll see you again on the flip side. Have a great day.